Hello and a big welcome back to the Wee Larder channel. Today we're going to be making a delicious beef and dumpling soup. If you like beef and dumpling stew, you're going to absolutely love this recipe. It's so delicious in the winter months. So you might want to pause at these ingredients here, but to get started we are going to add all of our beef into our pan of water. So that's the water quantity that's in the top of the ingredients list. And we're going to add our salt and pepper in there as well. So I've actually used beef slices for this recipe. I would usually add a whole piece of beef in, like beef rib or something, but I couldn't get my hands on anything like that, so I've just added in the slices. It doesn't really matter as long as you have the kind of approximate quantity in weight for this recipe. So we're going to add our salt and pepper and we're going to bring this to the boil and then bring it back down to a simmer for 30 minutes. And while it's simmering, we're going to remove all the scum that has risen to the top of the surface here of the soup. So we're going to take all of that out throughout the simmering time, just so that we have a nice clear liquid. So after the 30 minutes, we're going to remove the beef from the pan. So we're going to leave that to cool, and we're going to actually slice that up to add that back into the soup after our vegetables are cooked. So we're now going to add in some additional water here. So it's 500 ml to a litre, depending on how thick you want your soup. You want it quite chunky, I would just stick with 500. If you want it quite a thin soup, I would go for the litre. So we're adding in our additional water and our leeks there as well. And I'm just peeling my carrots in the background here into a bowl. I like to keep all my vegetable scraps and pop them in the freezer, and then I'll use that for a vegetable stock in the future. So we're going to add our carrots in there as well. And we're also going to add in our neeps there as well, our turnips. You can also use celeriac in this recipe. I couldn't get my hands on a celeriac in the supermarket, so I'm just using some neep here. So I've always got neeps available in my fridge. So we're just going to cut our beef into small pieces there, and we're going to add that back into the soup, and we're going to cook our vegetables and our beef down for 30 minutes. We're also going to add our parsley in there, so just a good handful of chopped parsley, and that is all going to cook down. While our soup is simmering away with the vegetables, we're going to add our flour into a large mixing bowl and some salt and pepper. We're going to give that a good mix through. We're then going to add in some finely chopped parsley, and we're going to stir that into the flour. So I'm using a lovely knife here to stir my dough balls, or to stir my flour. Grab yourself a spoon. So I'm then going to add my butter into the flour mix, and we're just going to rub that between our fingers just to create a breadcrumb type consistency. So we're just going to, just takes a few minutes to do, and we're just going to keep rubbing that through. You can also use vegetable suet as well. It does create a stiffer dough ball if you use the suet. I like to use the butter sometimes instead. So we're just adding in a little bit of cold water, and we're going to mix it through to create quite a stiff dough. So you do want quite a stiff dough for this recipe, and it should look something like this when it is finished, or when it is ready. So I didn't actually film myself rolling the dough balls, for some reason that got lost in the editing, but I did actually just roll them into golf ball sized dough balls, and we're just popping them into the soup here. So you should have 12 golf ball sized dough balls to pop into your soup. If you want to make extra dough balls, feel free to do that, but I would boil them in a separate pan of stock, because you're only going to fit 12 in if you have a large soup pan like this. But we do love dough balls, so the kids would probably have more if I had more available. They're so delicious. So these are going to inflate in size in your pan as they are cooking, and they should look something like this after about 25 minutes. And so just try and turn them gently in the pan as well. If you want to crisp them up, you could pop your pan into the oven if your pan is oven proof. So you could pop it into the oven for about 10-15 minutes just to crisp up the top of the dough balls. But this pan wasn't actually oven proof, so I couldn't do that. But they were just super delicious the way they were. We loved these dough balls, they were so good. And we had some crusty bread on the side as well. But this would also work really well with some Scottish oat cakes, or maybe some soda bread or something as well. Soda bread is so quick and easy to make, and it is just really nice with soup as well. So we just served that up there. I went for about 2 dough balls per portion. As I say, the kids would seriously just eat so many more dough balls if they could. So I hope you enjoyed making this lovely, easy beef and dumpling soup. I'm sure you agree it is so delicious, especially in the cold weather as well. We actually had a storm going on when I was making this, so it was just the perfect meal for lunch or dinner. If you enjoyed this recipe, please feel free to give it a big thumbs up, and please say so in the comments below as well. And if you want to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe, and if you click that little bell next to it, I will see you guys again soon. You can also grab a copy of my free traditional Scottish cookbook over on my website angiemilne.com, and I'm also over on Instagram, so feel free to pop over and say hello. So take care, lots of love, bye bye.